Hello and welcome back. It's an honor to be here hosting season number 3 of this beautiful multi-dimensional love summit. And of course, this time we're talking all about how to flourish in your sacred union while ascending in consciousness. And today I'm joined by Brandy Gillmore, who has an incredible story. And I really want to get into this today of how she healed herself through using the power of the mind after a devastating injury, which left her disabled and in extreme pain. This is incredible, viewers. You're really going to want to tune into this today. And we're going to talk about some of Brandy's methods and what she talks about, because she today speaks on stages across the US and in Canada. She's also done a TED Talk, a hugely inspiring figure of somebody who's really come through that dark place and has made some incredible discoveries along the way, which she's now sharing with the world. And Brandy also coaches top celebrities, entrepreneurs, Olympic athletes, CEOs, and groups worldwide to use their minds in order to transform their health and also their life. So really excited to get into this today. Brandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ariella. It is so wonderful to be here with you. I love your energy. I love your energy.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a couple of, we're new to each other, not new probably overall, but we're new
in this lifetime. We're definitely new.
But yeah, we've had some great exchanges, and I'm just so inspired by your story and by your grit and everything that you must have gone through and done in order to transcend that, and in order to come out the other side and share your story and teach about how you were able to do that. So let's start there, because I want to hear it from you. I want to hear this incredible story.
And you know what it takes to really transcend, to make that change. And I have to say, it's a place I never thought that I would be personally. I mean, I was very analytical, did network engineering, operations, was very athletic. And then I had an accident, well, technically 2, and ended up wheelchair, walker, cane. On a good day, I could get around with my wheelchair, walker, cane, and on a bad day, I didn't make it out of bed. And I was on various forms of morphine every day for years, and medications, and in and out of the hospital, having nerve ablations, infusions, injections. And I was in so much pain, I didn't want to move or breathe. And this was years. Like my total injury was about 7 years. And when I started going in, and doctors said, there's nothing that they can do for me. And then, you go on this path of trying to find the next doctor or this specialist, and it just goes down a whole rabbit hole, if you will. And so I have to say, though, it ended up really being the biggest gift of my life. It changed my entire life. I went down, after that didn't work, I went supplements and diet and all of that. And that didn't work. It just kind of, the rabbit hole continued. And this spiritual journey of awakening has just been incredible. So what happened is finally, on my path, I was going to one hospital after another, and doctors just looking for any type of cure. And I got included in this research study, and I thought, oh my God, this is it. I'm going to get my life back. And I was so stoked. It was like, finally, I was going to get out of pain and get my life back. And so I went to the hospital, and they wheeled me in my wheelchair, and were getting me all set up for the procedure. And the doctor, he comes in and he says, you know what, you can't be a part of the study. We don't expect you to get better.
Oh.
And at that moment, I fell apart. And he, I understand, and he was kind and everything, but I understood it, but my dreams were just shattered right then. And then I left, and I don't remember leaving the hospital. I don't remember the next few days, but when I woke up, I was laying in my same bed in extreme pain, And I didn't have a reason to open my eyes. Like, I was just like, what's the point? I've tried everything, every nerve ablation, every infusion, injection, every diet, supplement, everything. And I don't have a future to look forward to. And in that moment, I had this voice in my head that said, Brandy, what about the placebo? And, you know, and at first I started thinking about that. It just became this spiral of thoughts of, what about the placebo? We know the mind has the ability to do these things. And so it was like, oh my God, there still is a hope that I could still get my life back and I could still get better. And little did I know that was the universe, my path of spiritual journey and awakening. But that's where it started. Was I started looking at the mind. How is the mind able to do this? And it just became this incredible journey of learning how to use my mind to create incredible shifts in people's lives and my life. You know, it changed my entire life, my health, my life, my finances, my relationships, everything. And incredible.
Yeah, that is incredible. So what was the shift then? Like, what did you do? You know, like, how did that actually come about, right? Like, how did you start noticing that you were getting better?
Well, pain was a good indicator.
Yeah.
Because the things I had been diagnosed with, you know, given a whole long list of diagnoses: nerve lesions, CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome, spondylosis, a whole lot. So I was in extreme pain. So what I started to do is, at first I was trying to meditate and send my pain away, and different things like that you hear in the spiritual world. And I tried all of that, and that didn't work either. And I was, you know, so I was meditating for like 12 hours a day, and my whole house sounded like an ashram, music, healing music, all that. It didn't work. And then I went through this period of going, okay, well, maybe I have to believe that I'm already better, because you hear that with the placebo. And then you also hear people say, well, you have to believe that it's already happened. And so I tried to convince myself that I was already healed for like years, and that didn't work either. Made me feel like I was going crazy. I had like multiple realities. And the only problem is, in both reality and all realities, I was still really in pain. And so, you know, I could like meditate and send my pain away and actually decrease it for a little bit, but it always came back, and it wasn't significant. I mean, I could feel it, but basically because I had done network engineering prior to my injury, I thought, okay, look, if I'm really going to master this, I'm not going to be like, okay, visualizing and meditating and sending pain and sending energy. Like, I have to understand energy. I have to understand the mind. How does it really work? And so, because I mean, I literally spent years just grasping at healing music, and then this, and then I go, okay, how do I get tangible results? What is key? And that is so that, like, there was a lot of pivotal moments of discovery of, okay, this is what I need to do. And you know, it just, to me, it became about understanding the mind, because when we start to look at it, you know, everybody talks about energy and sending energy, and that's great. And I love energy, but there's a difference between transmission energy and core energy. Mm. And so when we start to look at, like, a lot of people, you'll see, they'll think of something, maybe you've ever, and I'm sure, you know, we've all heard this before, where you think of somebody and they call. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's transmission energy. Or people will go, well, I'm working on manifesting something, and they'll start to think about what they're wanting to manifest, and they'll see a sign of it, you know, and they'll see signs, and everybody's like, oh my God, I saw a sign. Yeah. Which is really great. But if you ever notice, it's not enough to actually manifest the actual thing. So a lot of people are really happy with the sign of something, and they'll see the sign, and they'll see the sign, and, oh my God, that's great. But they never turn that transmission energy into core energy. And that's where the shift occurs.
The core energy being?
So that core energy and transmission energy are the same types of energy. Everything's the same type of energy. Yeah. But the best way to think of it is, if you think about your cell phone. Okay, your cell phone, you can make a phone call on your cell phone. You can successfully talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay. But if you think about the energy that's always with your cell phone, like, you can drive around and you always are connected, you always have service, right? Yeah. So maybe AT&T or Sprint or Verizon or whomever, whatever's, you know, whatever cellular carrier you have, you always have that service.
Yeah.
So in other words, when we think a thought, that's like making a phone call. Like, we're sending out energy with our thoughts, yes, but what is your core energy? What's in your subconscious mind? And so that's our consistent energy. Like, in other words, if I connect with you, you can send different energy about, but you are your core energies. And then you, like, in other words, if somebody has a radical transformation, they're shifting their core energy. We're going to say, Ariella, like, if you look at who you used to be and who you are now, you went through a transformation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see that. And I'll have people that I work with health, relationship, all of that. And you literally take a before picture of them and an after picture. And you can see they're really a changed person. But, and it's not that we need to change everything. I mean, that's a complete transformation, but we can transform areas of our life. And in doing so, it's not about just creating just the simple thoughts. It's about really creating the change in our subconscious mind. It's like our subconscious mind is constantly sending out energy, whether we want it to or not. You know, even if we look at relationships, for example, we've all heard before that people can attract those like their parents, like their mother or father. Yeah. And it's not because somebody says, I want to marry somebody like my mother, or I want to marry somebody like my father. Or even we can be that, where you hear people say, oh my God, I just did that. It was just like my mother. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm just like, right? But that's because it's in our core energy. It's in our subconscious mind. Okay. And so, like, I mean, I've worked with people as far as relationships go, where they've come to me before and they've attracted the same, like they've been like, I've been with 3 alcoholics in a row, and my dad was an alcoholic, and I said, I'm never going to marry an alcoholic. And the first one, and then the second one, and the third one, I had no idea he drank, and all of a sudden he's an alcoholic also, or he was just a dry alcoholic. Like, there's,
it happens.
It does. And that's because that's their core energy. And so what happens is when people are trying to change their life, they have this powerful core energy in their subconscious mind that's constantly broadcasting out what their life should look like. And then they put positive thoughts on it. They go, well, I'd like this man, or I'd like this woman, or I'd like this relationship, or I want to change my life this way. And they put sprinkles on it of transmission energy, but they don't change the core energy. And when you take any area of life, whether it's for your health or relationships or finances, but you take any area and you really shift that core energy, that's when you create the transformation.
Oh, I love this. That's radical. That will be new information for a lot of people. I myself haven't heard of this difference between transmission and core energy. So how do you shift your core energy? That's the question, right?
Okay. Well, it's about understanding first what the block is, what the block is at a deeper level, what is in your subconscious mind. Yeah. And so that first and foremost is key. And then it really is about, it's kind of a, what's a good way to shorten it? Very simply put, it's about understanding how to get those new transmission energy into your subconscious mind. So it's about bringing in the positive, and then it's about identifying the specific negative and getting rid of it. And so it's kind of like this. If we look at it with health, or even what's a good example? Like, a lot of people don't necessarily see their patterns. For example, one woman I worked with relationships, she came in through a class that I was having, and she had this pattern of feeling like her dad was always gone. Her dad was always gone. She was always waiting for her dad to get home. He would go on trips, business trips, and that was her life as a kid. Okay. Now fast forward, she was 50 something in my class, and she was waiting for the universe to provide her man. And she had been waiting to manifest the perfect man for something like 12 years. But what people don't realize is it's the emotional pattern.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that somebody needs to be an alcoholic. You know what I mean? It's not, bingo. What's the best way to put it? The universe wants me to expand on that. So in other words, it's the feeling, it's understanding the emotion. Okay. So, bingo. Another example that I'll even see is like somebody might feel criticized as a youngster. And as they're feeling criticized by their parents, then all of a sudden they attract a relationship where they feel criticized all the time. And so it has to do with the feeling of it. And that's what a lot of people are overlooking with core energy, is that our emotions create our core energy. So our emotions, energy and motion. And these emotions get locked in our subconscious mind. So another way to say it is to really look at how we're really feeling at a deeper level and to shift that. So in other words, some people have felt left out or rejected all of their life. And then they grow up and they go, I keep trying to find a relationship, but I keep feeling left out and rejected. And they have that feeling and they're like, but I'm trying to manifest the perfect relationship, but they feel lonely. And that's been their pattern of attraction. Does it make sense?
It does, yeah, because like attracts like, and whatever you are, your vibrational state
Exactly.
is what calls in similar vibrations.
Exactly. And it's all happening at a deeper level. You know, when we stop and look at the mind for a moment, our subconscious mind is running, neuroscience would say, anywhere between 90 to 95% of our brain. And so what happens is a lot of people, when they're working on manifesting things, they're going, oh, okay, well, let me consciously think about it and I can do it. And they're only working with 5 to 10% of their brain, which would be like 90 to 95 people against 5, and you wonder who's going to win.
Yeah.
You know, and so not only that, but again, it's, you know, what'll happen is people will start to bring the thought in and they see we're all amazing beings. We're powerful, incredible beings, and our thoughts help create our life, but they see that sign and they get so excited. They're like, I saw this sign and I saw this sign. But and they keep going from one sign to another, but they never see that the tangible results that they're wanting, is because it's really about doing both, about getting the positive in and also about releasing the negative. Because what happens is that if we don't do both, a lot of people, they just want to put in the positive. Mm-hmm. And the best analogy for that is if you picture driving a car and you have one foot on the gas and the other foot on the brake. You don't go very far. But if you put your foot on the gas and you take your other foot off the brake, you head in the direction that it is that you want to go. Mm-hmm. And so, and this is what's beautiful is, as a, you know, love is the ultimate catalyst for health and manifestation. Yeah. And the easiest way to illustrate this is, if you've heard before that if a kid doesn't get positive attention, they'll get negative attention. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is because we all need love. Our souls are drawn towards love. And another illustration would be is if you look at a plant will grow towards the sun. Mm. And you see plants grow towards the sun because that's energy. I mean, the sun is solar energy. And we as spiritual beings, our spirit needs love. Mm. So we will attract and we will grow towards love and we'll flourish. Just like a plant will flourish in the sun, we flourish in love. Mm. And so love not only directs the way that we grow, or can stunt our growth if we don't have enough, but we flourish when there's love. Yeah, it's so true. We absolutely do. And what is coming to mind is I'm wondering how
there will be people who are watching this summit who are in relationships, but maybe they are looking for the next step of how to, deepen the intimacy, or like let more love in within their union. What would you say? How would you say that they are able to do this? And how can people start to see what these patterns are that might be putting their foot on the brake?
Okay. So how can they start to see them? All right. So let's see. First and foremost, universe wants me to answer that. Bingo. All right. So if I forget that part, remind me, and I'll share that with you. Okay. But first and foremost, how can people start to change their relationships? It would literally be by transforming themselves. All of the time, I see people who they become spiritual and they think, I have to leave my relationship. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people who have been sick because they feel like they're supposed to leave. And it's like their subconscious mind doesn't want to. Their energy, their core energy doesn't want to leave. And so they feel like they have to, like it's a spiritual requirement to be able to graduate. They have to leave their relationships. And I've seen people with serious illnesses because that energy is going on, where they feel like it'll be like a plant needing to leave the sun and being told it's supposed to leave the sun. Right. Be spiritual. Wow. And so I see this, like, it's like people think that to evolve to the level that they need to evolve to, that they have to leave. And I've seen some serious illnesses with this specifically. And so that's one thing, is realizing that as you change and transform, your relationship really can change and transform with it. But what happens is a lot of times people will have blind spots where they evolve, and then they get this spiritual elitism where they're like, I'm evolved and he's not, or she's not, and I must leave now. And yes, that's not the case. And so what happens is, as we shift and transform those patterns, we can really transform our relationships. But what'll happen is a new pattern comes in, and it's spiritual elitism. That's, I'm so spiritual, everybody's less, which will feel good to the spiritual ego. But then when you walk around in life and you go, I'm more spiritual than everybody, it becomes a lonely life. And the reality of it is we're all spiritual beings. I've never seen anybody walking around without energy. We're a spirit, and so we are all spiritual beings. It's just a level of awareness. And so there's a dynamic that a lot of times what people don't realize happens is sometimes that opposites of where somebody else is more grounded allows another person to be more in the energy, in the realms of all of that, and feel like, okay, it's like a balloon that's got a string on it that, float away because you've got that connection. So I've seen people actually grow and flourish more because they have that opposite balance of grounding, and allows them to go even higher, and so there's a dynamic. But again, that spiritual elitism can come in and go, well, he's not spiritual. And then what happens is they go to date spiritual men and they feel like, oh, they're not spiritual, or they're not grounded enough. So they don't feel safe in the relationship, or they feel like the man is too soft and they don't feel that safe. And so they're both like balloons, and so, and point being, everybody's different. And of course, what we all want, I mean, if you look at me, I'm very grounded as far as, used to do network engineering. I have a TED talk where I can speak and work very, very analytically. And I can also channel information and go really high and get information, And so ultimately we all want to be grounded and being able to, have access all realms. And that's powerful. Yeah. But yeah. It is.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a great point. We hear that a lot you know, I've heard it a lot as well from clients who are worried because their husbands, it's normally the women saying, well, you know, he doesn't he doesn't believe in all of this stuff, you know, so crazy, or sometimes at best it might be he doesn't believe in it, but he supports me on this journey. But yeah, there can be this you're right, there is often people who are thinking they need to be the same, that we all need to have the same belief systems in order to cohabit and in order to be in love.
Exactly.
And it's not the case.
Exactly. It's not the case. And, you know, like what you were just saying, where they feel like he doesn't believe in it. This is what's fun. Okay. So as I got better from my injury, what I did was I started showing people how to release pain in minutes using their mind. And I started doing this even under thermal medical equipment. So if you're familiar with thermography,
right?
In thermography, it's like this therm. So it's a heat scan of the body, where if somebody's having pain or inflammation, heat will show up on the scan. And so what I started doing was taking people who have pain and showing them how to use their mind, and you would see the scan turn from red to green as the pain goes away.
Incredible.
Now, my point in that is exactly what you were saying, is that people go, oh, he doesn't believe. And for me, when I was like, I healed myself with my mind, like, people are never going to believe this. And so it drove me to get tangible results. So people could really see the difference under scan. And so my point is that what happens is kind of like this. Okay. I have, so my point is really, if that's not a reason to leave, you can just show them by transforming your life and make it that of, okay, well, great. Let me just get tangible results.
Yeah.
One woman I have that I worked with was bedridden, supine for years. Okay. And I've had multiple. So, but a lot of times you see people who say, they think, oh, I got to leave my relation. Oh, my husband doesn't believe in this, all of that. Her family is all like, now they're like all doing vision boards and all this stuff.
Yeah. Correct.
And her daughter's like doing these, like, and they're all like listening to my program. They're manifesting things in their life. And so it's fun. Like her whole family, even her sister, like she literally got her whole family on board with the awareness that, I mean, she was supine for years, and now she's running marathons and traveling and doing all kinds of things. And so, and her relationship, like, is better than ever. And it's just, you see, and I can tell you 10 different stories like that of people's kids doing blah, blah, like 100 different stories of that. And what happens is that just because, like, we're going through a spiritual awakening. And so just because somebody got there first doesn't mean, and became aware of it, doesn't mean that they need to then leave everybody who hasn't. It's about all of us waking up.
Yeah.
And you know, it's
yeah, I mean, you never know what's inside of somebody, do you? Like, and you never know what's inside of your dynamic in your relationship until you get into it. You never know what's possible. So what you think might not be possible, then, like, you know, when you get together and you're a bit further down the track, I mean, it's these beautiful revelations.
Yes. And what I see happen, though, is a lot of women then go, I just got to change him. I just got to change him. I just got to change him.
Yeah.
And it's not about seeing him as being less than, though. He's not less than now. He's not, because they'll see them as being like, oh, he's a mere mortal. And it's like they look down on him, and or him or her, as you say, you know, you commonly see this with women, but I mean, I work with all types of relationships. I mean, men, women, gay, bi, everybody. And so it's not him or her necessarily, it's relationships in general.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it's about, I mean, I see people, I work with people who, I just went to an engagement party of a woman that I worked with who thought she could never have a man and was no way, and it was never going to work. And I just went to their engagement party and it was the sweetest thing. It was here in LA. So, you know, usually it was just really sweet. She's like, look, you helped with this. Can you show up? And I would be honored to. It was the sweetest thing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
But point being from that is you want to make sure to not get stuck in the feeling of I've got to change him or I've got to change her, and realizing that the more you change in yourself, the more that continues to change. And it's a lot of people, they get to a level of spirituality and then they think, oh, I need to change the other person, and they start to think that that's what the fix is, and it's not. It's really not. And because we see in a certain way, we think, oh no, it really is him, but it's still those patterns. It really is. It's kind of like this is what will happen. Somebody will have a pattern of feeling like their husband doesn't understand them, and then they become spiritual, and then they feel like they don't understand him, or that he doesn't understand her. And it's the same pattern, and they don't realize that it's like this. If somebody's in a relationship for 20 years and they go for 10 years of it, they're going, he doesn't understand me. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand me. And then they become spiritual and they go, he doesn't understand me. See, he doesn't understand me. It's all the same pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't realize when they change that, that's when it shifts.
And how can people find out what patterns are in? I mean, look, you are very gifted in this area, and I know that this is absolutely, you know, the journey that you've been on, the mission that you're on, this is like, it's your gift and it is a gift, you know, to really help people to uncover these patterns. But like, maybe you could just talk about how you support people to do this, or if there's anything that you can share with the viewers in that empowers them to start getting in touch with that a little bit more.
Absolutely. If I would say one way to really identify the patterns is ownership. Just like, I mean, if we really stop and think about it, if you look at how many women who've been saying, my husband doesn't understand me, and they become spiritual, and then they say, he doesn't understand me, and you realize and you look at that pattern, you start to see that there's a lot of threads like that. And so one way is to really look at your results in life and own them and say, what's real here? Like, what am I feeling? What is my experience? And what's my real pattern? And some really good self-awareness and self-honesty and willingness to not blame. And what's great about not blaming and putting it outside of you is that when you start to really look at it, it takes ownership and empowerment. That's the ultimate power. When you look at your life and you say, I'm going to shift this. And so that's what I would recommend for most people. The reality of it is that because these are subconscious, I mean, the very word subconscious is below consciousness. And so, you know, so a lot of times what I do in my classes, that's what I do is I'll have a class and I show, and I just, because I can feel what people are feeling and I can get the information, I help them pinpoint it, and people are able to make rapid shifts, just like getting on a plane in minutes or making, you know, all kinds of shifts in their life, because I just help people pinpoint what it is that needs to be shifted and then help them to shift it. But again, for people to do this in their own life, it would be to get rid of those feelings of frustration and to really be willing to look at it and say, I am powerful. I can do this. I need to identify that pattern and let me really shift that.
Yeah. I love how you bring it back to the physical and the tangible all the time. Like, you know, how you say, look at the tangible results that you're creating. These are a reflection. This is a mirror, right? So what's actually going on within. And how you have, I love how you insist, and we don't always see this in the spiritual communities. What I really love about the work that you do is that you're very much focused on people getting tangible results in their physical reality. Like, you can tell you shifted because you've just manifested a load of money, or your health improved, or guess what? You've called the love of your life into you, right?
Absolutely. And it takes real change. So to me, it's all about results. A lot of people who are spiritual, they go, okay, there's the spiritual realm and then there's the physical realm.
Yeah.
But wait a second. Everything's made of atoms. Everything is made of energy. Everything's made of atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons. We learned that in grade school. But so when you start to actually really look at the physical world, it's condensed energy.
Yes.
It is energy that's really, really, really thick. Just like if you take moisture in the air, that's still water now. But if you get a lot of that moisture, you have water condensate. You start to seep. So that's, to me, it's all about getting results. I think during my injury, I was frustrated with not being able to get results. It's like, how do I get real tangible results? And I see that so often with people where they're enlightened and they're aware, but then you look at their lives and they're alone or lonely or feeling hurt or rejected, or they're feeling like they can't have that partner and they're hopeless on it, or their relationship isn't great and they're feeling alone in their relationship and they're feeling unloved instead of changing that, or they're their finances are terrible and or their health is terrible, and they don't see that they can actually shift that. And so while they have the knowledge of that they're amazing, they don't have the how to or the focus on really getting those results.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important message. There is a lot of spiritual bypassing. I mean, I've been there. I know, I will put my hand up. I think it's part of the rite of passage, right?
And I think, we call it, okay, so people call it spiritual bypassing, and part of me doesn't like that word, just because it's like a little bit of, like you did it on purpose. Like you try to buy, like a judgment about it. And it's almost like, I'm agreeing with you 1,000,000%, but it's almost like our minds do that. It's the subconscious, because we do that. And then we wake up to, oh, yeah, I was trying to bypass that.
Right. Yeah. I see what you're saying. It's like a kind of, well, I knew what I was, but I wasn't, as opposed to like a surrender to, actually, I was like shooting off in a crazy direction, thinking I knew what I was doing, but
we've all done that. We just, it's part of the process.
It's the trial and error, isn't it? It's the trial and error. I mean, that's, I lived in a caravan, a trailer in America, right? For 2.5 years. I left corporate, and because I had these huge spiritual revelations and visions, and it's like, whoa, my mission's going to come online. I don't need money, I don't need a physical body. I don't need to exercise anymore. It's all just going to be done spiritually. And thank God for that, because like this dimension has always been so slow anyway. So after 2.5 years of, manifesting ill health and being practically bankrupt, and they're like, well, nobody's going to take me seriously if I can't, there's no tangible results, It was like, okay, yeah, I need to reintegrate physical and start, actually making, like, having some strategy, in the physical dimension. So
I think we all been there for a moment where you go, oh my God, energy. And then you go, okay, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've got to ground it. This is
I
what
mean,
it's
not with the
about.
trailer and all. I love that. Where you were in the States, you mentioned.
No. I was in, but I meant it in the, I would call it a caravan in the UK. In the States, you call it a trailer, right?
Okay.
But no, I was in Glastonbury. Just, of course, it's like the energy hotspot of the UK. So I was there, beam me up. Let's get this show on the road. I'm a starseed, so I'm ready. Let's channel this. But no, it was a huge lesson, and one which I learned a lot from, and I can see it. I can see it being repeated, in the spiritual community.
Yeah, I think it's part of what a lot of us go through.
Yeah. So I love the tangible results.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I think that's what I have to say I love about healing, and is that to get that's what made me focus on tangible results. Yeah. I didn't go into this thinking I want to manifest my life, I want to create this. Like, I came into it going, I need to get my health back.
Yeah.
And so you don't have it. You can't fake those results.
Nice.
And so that's what I want to say. That was a huge gift in the fact that it made me, where a lot of people, if they come into this and they're working on manifesting, they can work on manifesting the relationship or the money or whatever, and they go, well, I'm manifesting, but obviously life is doing something wrong, or he's doing something wrong, or she did that. And so there's so many scapegoats.
Yeah.
And when I came in with health, it was like, if I'm healing myself with my mind,
nobody's doing anything but us. Like, that's the thing. It's you versus you. There's nobody else that's conspiring.
No, I didn't have any scapegoats.
Yeah.
And so it was like, if I'm really doing this, how do I get real results? And the beautiful thing is that then taught me how to use the mind to get results, to then go to other areas of the life and go, oh, okay. And the reality of it is as I healed my body, that was my focus. And I was like, oh, my relationships changed. Like, even my family, like, I have one of those families who was like, and they've all changed. But I grew up, it was kind of like everybody picks on everybody and kind of cuts everybody down, and it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah. Similar to me. Yeah. I relate.
And so after I got better and everything, I remember the first time I went to go hang out with them again, and I was just like, okay, here it goes. And I literally, it was like, and everybody was so complimentary. It was like they could all cut each other down, and I had nothing but compliments coming my way. And it's literally just, I mean, the family dynamic is so different than it used to.
Well, your relationship changed with you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And gets extended.
It gets extended. I was very critical of myself.
Yeah.
And it was, and it just really changed in every area.
Yeah.
And so the things that you think that you have no control over really actually change. Or another person is, the universe is amazing. This is, you find the answers along the way, and it's just really incredible. It's just, to anybody, it's just like, as long as you keep going and you keep learning, it's incredible what we're capable of. It truly is. I mean, I've seen people paralyzed who are walking super. It just, you start to just look at it and you just go, we're amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, you are a walking example and inspiration of what is possible. And, what a empowering message and inspirational message you carry, and thank you for for sharing that with our summit viewers in this interview, and the work that you're doing all around the world. Yeah, it's a hugely empowering message.
I want to reflect that back. Thank you for doing the work that you do as well.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to talk about your beautiful offer, because a group of people, right, they have an opportunity to do some work with you from the summits, which
Absolutely.
is awesome. So, yeah, and I love the title for this. So it's Love, the Ultimate Catalyst for Healing and Expanding in Consciousness, which is beautiful. So can you just talk to us a little bit about what that involves and what people might be able to expect by signing up to that?
Absolutely. Basically what it is it is a 4-week course, and we meet once a week. And what I do on it is we all meet on a Zoom call. And so, but then I help basically coach people, and I help them pinpoint the specific patterns that are going on that they're really wanting to change. So some people are wanting to change their relationship. Some people are looking for that special someone and feel like they haven't been able to manifest the relationship. Some people are just carrying a lot of hurt, and they're in that relationship, and they just know that it's not even towards a relationship specifically, but it's love in general.
Yeah.
You know, when we look at it for a moment, and part of the reason that I got into really helping people with their relationships and love is because it is the catalyst for so many things. Our love is soul food, you know, and even if you look at health, we can see that failure to thrive. If you look at an infant, a spiritual being who comes into this world, if they don't have enough love, they can actually die. And failure to thrive, we know that. And that's a spiritual being who has not really learned to do a lot, but that's a spiritual being in a body that's not getting the love and connection that it needs. And or if you look at seniors, we've heard before that if a senior doesn't have or loses a spouse, they can actually die also, or broken heart syndrome. We have all of these things that are surrounded by love, and loneliness is a growing epidemic. They actually are referring to it as an epidemic. And so there's a lot of people, even if they have others around, are lonely. But either way, again, the simplest way to look at it is when you look at an infant that doesn't get enough love, they can actually die, failure to thrive. Even in orphanages, there's a much higher rate of mortality, even when infants are getting proper nutrition. And my point being is just that love fuels our soul. And so it is the ultimate catalyst for love, for expansion of consciousness, for manifestation. We want to grow towards love. And what happens is for people who don't have it in their life, there can be that health issue. There can also be a feeling torn between only growing so far because there's no love, and they feel like the more they grow, the less love they get, which is like a plant trying to grow away from the sun. You're only going to go so far. And sometimes, you know, what people would refer to as ascension symptoms are really feelings of not having love or different emotions that are coming up. And it's an alignment of the body to say, we really need to shift this. And so that's part of what I teach is I help people to pinpoint what it is, and also to clear the hurt and the hurt or the old patterns that are creating what it is that they don't want. So that's what we do. We work on pinpointing it. And again, some people are in relations, some people are not. Some people, it's not even about their relationship. It's about friendships. It's about hurt. Some people are straight. Some people are gay. Me personally, I'm gay. And so I've worked with a lot of people who are gay or who are straight or all different things. I think that that's part of the evolution also of, you know, more people being bi or gay or different things like that. It's a transformation that's taking in place in our world with, I mean, when you look at population growth, I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on with our spiritual awareness. But anyway, the class, it's basically what we do is we pinpoint the specific emotions, patterns. We work with core energy, helping people to shift their core energy to be able to get tangible results. And so that's what we do is I have everybody's able to ask questions, ask about their energy, and I check into people's energy and check in personally to them. So people will say, hey, can you check my pattern? What is it that I need to clear? This is what I'm working on. And so that's what we do. Kind of everybody has their something to work on. Then I help people to clear. We do block, basically clearing old energy, clearing negative energy, and really creating that shift. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so awesome. So 4 weeks, you meet once a week for an hour at a time, and it's a group that you're taking through this beautiful process. And the price is very, very generous. So it's down at just $97 to work with, like, I'm going to say it because you won't, but a master in terms of really identifying these patterns and helping you to clear them. So I don't know of any faster way that people are going to be able to identify those patterns. And I think, well, we know from the journey that you've been on, this incredible rite of passage, it's part of your gifts to now do that. So I do encourage everybody to click on the link that I'm sending you in today's email. Go and take a look at Brandy's package that she's offering here, and to sign up for this incredible opportunity to really get feedback, get advice, and to clear these patterns once and for all, so that you can just have your foot on the accelerator paddle and there's no break.
No break.
Eat it.
And I do want to say, because I am checking into each person's energy, if you are interested in signing up, the classes do fill up. So make sure to head there and sign up, because for me to be able to give each person personal information, I do keep the classes a bit limited. So just FYI.
Yeah. Fair enough. No, brilliant. Thank you so much. I think it has been it's been a lovely interview, and I thank you for really kind of separating out and grounding us into these different types of energy and empowering us to actually insist on getting tangible results in our lives and giving us a route to discover that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, and thank you for what you do in the world and being such a beautiful soul.
Absolute pleasure. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than doing this summit at the moment. I love it. I love talking about all things multidimensional.
Right? When we got in our last call, we got on a call to meet for this, and it was just like, we could talk forever about it. It's
so forever. Yeah. It's my favorite conversations, and meeting all of you incredible teachers and hearing your stories. I get inspired on a daily basis. So it is my absolute pleasure and honor. And I'm just, so grateful to you for your presence on the show.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody who is listening, just because it just means that you're somebody who's helping with this incredible evolution of consciousness. And it's beautiful. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and please do share with us your comments, your greatest takeaways from this interview. We're in the Facebook group, so we'd love to connect with you and hear what you thought about today's interview, what's opened up for you, and help you with these patterns, right? Help you with developing new patterns which are in alignment with what you actually want to manifest. So thank you so much, and I will see you very soon for another beautiful interview.
Thank you.